Dave Popkin, WBGO Studios. My guest and I were coincidentally born in the same hospital in Neptune, New Jersey, albeit over 30 years apart. He is a 17-year-old jazz guitar prodigy from Bradley Beach who's making waves on the music scene with his advanced playing. He has played at many of the top jazz clubs and festivals in the world, recently appeared at SOPAC and Bryant Park in New York, and among other gigs, he'll be playing the Jazz Foundation of America's Great Night Gala at Jazz at Lincoln Center on May 21st, with a lineup that includes Norah Jones and Buster Williams. Marel Hidalgo, welcome to WBGO.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. What's your first musical memory?
Well, first musical memory happened right here in Neptune City. My parents had taken me to a local music studio store, and well, I asked the guitar teacher, I was about four at the time, can I learn Jethro Tull's Aqualung? And about an hour later, I kind of had it under my fingers, and that's where it all started.
Was that a huge eye opener for your parents?
Yeah, because they saw that a kid at that age could listen to a teacher for an extended amount of time, because that was the main concern among some of the music schools we had went to, that usually start classes around 6, 7, and well, this music teacher Jerry Franklin, he kind of stuck a limb out and took the chance, and here we are today.
Our mutual friend Mike Grio, who plays bass with you sometimes, told me that he booked you for the South Orange International Blues Festival at age 6. Do you remember anything about that day?
Well, I remember Mr. Greer. I remember the backstage area. I sort of remember the set list. We were doing a lot of Santana at the time, a lot of blues and Latin jazz, just about everything. And well, I just remember we had a really great time. Matter of fact, I think CC Minton of Harlem World Magazine had heard that I was vegan, and I think she brought me some snacks to tide me over. But only good memories.
So now you play with Mike in a Jamaican jazz outfit, correct?
Correct.
What is the extent of your playing with that, and where do you hope to take that?
Yeah, well, uh, I have been playing this Jamaican guitarist music, Ernest Ranglin, who I just got the chance to meet in Jamaica around last week. And I have been playing his material since I was 7, but now that I came into the jazz world, I started revisiting it with a more cohesive group and spanning more genres. So the thing with Jamaican jazz is Jamaican is such a blanket term for all the music of the Caribbean. So we have calypso, reggae, soca, dub, all the sorts of Caribbean music that you usually encounter, and we mix it a little with the jazz harmony, jazz sort of. Maybe we'll do a calypso and take it into some swing. It's all about whatever comes naturally.
All right, tell me a little bit about Mr. Ranglin, who is a famous Jamaican jazz artist, a guitarist, producer who has played with everybody from the Wailers to Monty Alexander to Jimmy Cliff. I mean, you name it. He
Yeah.
has done it, and now 93 years old, and you went to visit him?
Yeah, well, just about last week, I got the chance to there's his his last record label, Avila Street, based in San Francisco, was really kind enough to extend the invitation to me to have them fly me out to. Oh, first we made a stop in Miami, then a stop in Kingston. Actually, no, Ocho Rios. That's where Mr. Wrangling is, and well, the man has such an extensive curriculum and a resume ranging from Bob Marley to Cannibal Adderley, you know, and you can, well, he's been retired for around 10 years, but his music has really impacted the world as a whole because, as Rolling Stone put it, no wrangling, no reggae. And reggae really has its, you can find the sort of drum and bass thing everywhere from disco to rock to even more modern blues and funk. It's everywhere.
There's no doubt. And I saw a picture of you and he flying back to the States, right? From Jamaica, and what was that all about?
Oh well, his family is in Miami, so we one of the only times I've enjoyed being in the middle seat. Um, so I obviously he got the window because I don't think I'd be able to live with myself if I ended up taking the window seat. Um, and well, we just really had a great time. He's a really great person, and even though he's 93, he's turning 94 later on this year. Um, you can't really tell, he's still all there, he's cracking jokes. He still has that sort of same of can talk harmony or arranging like in a second,
Somebody was telling me that you guys or he or his family were finding some old tapes, like live tapes that had been previously unreleased or undiscovered.
Yeah, well, we're the record label Avila Street is they're in the process of putting out a box set. So they have a Kickstarter going, and people can pay to get they get some vinyls. Hopefully, if they can transfer this over, they're gonna get tapes that have never been listened to before. They've been in the closet, but hopefully once everything gets sort of settled out, there'll be more music that really the world deserves to see.
It's really exciting. Let's talk about your straight ahead jazz career because you've been doing that as well, solo and trios and quartets and different configurations over the years. What kind of stuff have you been playing?
Well, the nice thing about being able to do the Jamaican jazz and the straight head group is that you get to have good feet in multiple worlds. But I've been really lucky enough to play with some of my straight ahead heroes, such as Billy Hart, Roger Humphreys, even the more contemporary folks like Pat Bianchi, Jonathan Blake, and just a whole bunch of people that if I started on naming them, I'm sure I'd miss one, and then I'd feel real bad about it. Um, but I've been playing swing, hard bop, post bop, everything in between, and sometimes the straight ahead and the Jamaican music converges. I'm going to be actually on Ernest Ranglin's record label at Villa Street. We're putting out a solo jazz guitar album of well Ernest Ranglin's compositions. So all the straight ahead stuff he composed, as well as some of the Caribbean stuff he played. So sometimes you get that little fusion, not chicoria fusion though.
You're going to be recording that this year?
We actually already record. I don't know why I said we. It's only me on the guitar, but they recorded me about back in February, and that should be releasing sometime soon. I believe they're actually going to start mixing it this Friday, so keep an eye out for that.
So that'll be your debut album, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's super exciting. Um, what do you have going on in Costa Rica? I heard you had a trip coming to Costa Rica.
Well, I wish it were as easy as being a trip, but it's actually another straight head thing. I'm writing out arrangements for a wind orchestra in Costa Rica. We'll be playing music of Black composers ranging from Monk to Gigi Grice, from you know uh, Joe Henderson to Duke Pearson, just about everyone. And we have a 28 or 32 musicians total. Will be my quartet out there, and this wind orchestra, and we'll be playing at the National Theater in the city's capital. It's National Theater is known as the crown jewel of Central America. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's been a really long journey actually writing out all the parts for these musicians. So I've never seen a bassoon in my life. So, finding out how to arrange for that is pretty interesting. And well, that is going to be in actually 3 weeks. So I better be ready.
That is a trial by fire, my friend.
It
That's something else.
is. And well, it's sink or swim with this one. Uh, Actually, I just finished the last arrangement today, so send it out, and I get a few more weeks to relax for a little bit, and by that I just mean play guitar.
Yeah, I'm sure you're doing a lot of that every day. Um, let's talk Joe Pass. I hear a lot of that in your playing. I mean, is he someone that you listen to a lot as a youngster?
Well, I think he was the first jazz guitarist I ever listened to. Back when I had my old band that used to play about everything except jazz and classical music, we had this pianist who really played every instrument. And I took a little bit of a hiatus, and when I started coming back into the guitar, he said, "Oh, forget everything you've been playing. Check out Joe Pass." And I was like, I really want to listen to. I like my Jeff Beck. I like my Santana. I like all these folks. Maybe I'll give it a shot. And I listened to Virtuoso, and that first had night and day. Um, and that just completely changed the way I looked at the guitar. And about for a few months, I spent a long time trying to get that under my fingers. And then I started branching out. But for the first few months, it was just Joe Pass, Joe Pass, Joe Pass.
Well, that's a good teacher for sure. Um, from a very young age, I've seen articles where you did charity work, benefits, galas, all these things to help raise funds and raise awareness for different causes. What are some of the causes that you care about, that you hope to continue to do work for as you move forward?
Well, I think as musicians, we sort of have an obligation to see that the world gets better. I'm not saying I'm elect me president or anything, but I think most of the causes I did in the beginning were related to I did a fundraiser when I was about 8 to help for fund an organ transplant, um, and I did a bunch of environmental sort of benefits and a few festivals dedicated to that. I just think all the causes a musician cares about, we got to put in time. And, the music really brings people together, and I feel a lot of the musicians I admire, especially even back in the day, like Charles Mingus, or they were very deep into their social issues of their time. Even folks like Cecil Taylor that are kind of outside what we consider straight ahead tradition. They all knew that the music could contribute to the causes they care about, and I just hope to keep doing that for this generation and whoever comes next.
And there are many, many examples of that across, every genre of music, including Bruce Springsteen and Little Steven,
Exactly.
who are from your area and who are out there speaking out and giving to causes. And Little Steven's Teach Rock thing, where he goes into
Yeah.
schools and, uses that as part of the curriculum to teach history. I agree, totally part of the job, part of the responsibility. Um, so you're at the age where many would be looking at colleges. Are you thinking about going to college for music, or are you just going to hit the road?
The funny thing is, the more I've been playing with, I don't want to call them the elders, but the people I look up to, the more I hear both opinions. Like a bassist I respect very much, who I won't say his name, told me that maybe I should just hit the roads. Well, I mean, playing wise, not get out of here. Um, and some people have told me to just study something else completely. Like Mr. Park studied mechanical engineering. Herbie Hancock studied, I think, also engineering. Donald Byrd, a trumpet player, he studied everything from like psychology to medicine. So I still have my options pretty open as of right now, and I don't want to tie myself down by saying anything that I might regret later. But I'm just here for the journey.
You seem to have a family that is supportive of that journey and has allowed you to be homeschooled and travel the world internationally, and that's got to help that they care about your dream.
Oh yeah, a lot. I don't think I'd be able to. get away with half as much as I do without them. Most parents wouldn't let their kids fly alone to Paris or Costa Rica, wherever it may be. But since the beginning, they've told me, you don't take your phone out in the middle of the street at like midnight. Uh, don't look at the floor while you're walking around the strange city. Keep an eye on your surroundings. And besides the normal parent stuff, they've been very supportive of the music in general. And I just gotta really thank them for everything they've done for me.
Absolutely. Before I let you go, just forward looking in terms of either recording or somebody that you want to play with, like what are some of your goals, like intermediate goals, like in the next 5 to 10 years, like what would you like to do with your career?
Well, I'm just real glad I have the both, well, more than two. I can do arranging. I could do more Jamaican. I just personally hope to be able to do more recordings, play even more shows, do even more arranging. I just think I've been lucky enough to do everything I wanted to do. Now it's just about doing more on top of what I'm doing right now.
So one gig where people can see you soon is May 21st, Jazz at Lincoln Center for the Jazz Foundation of America Gala, one of the higher profile performances that you will have done. How did that come about?
Well, actually, I believe the president of the Jazz Foundation texted my dad out of nowhere. Well, maybe not out of nowhere. I actually was in Jamaica when it happened, I believe. So I wasn't here to get much of the details, but I just remember getting the call. Actually, I was in the car with the producer of the and the I guess you could call him the president of the record label, along with the camera crew. And I think the phone was just ringing off the hook, and I said, "Oh, we got there's this gonna happen," and then something else happened. So I think like 10 calls within this one taxi ride, and it I just can't. There's no words to describe it until it happens to you.
Well, I hope you enjoy every minute of it and meet a lot of great people and it should be a wonderful night, May 21st, at the House of Swing. Morel, I wish you all the luck and look forward to seeing you play soon. And hopefully you won't be a stranger. We'll have you back here
Yeah.
soon on WBGO.
Thank you very much, Mr. Popkins. Great talking to you.
YouTube. That's Marel Hidalgo joining us here, New Jersey's own jazz guitar star on the rise. We'll be back.